Okay, we're back. So you're in good company with myself, Bevan, again, and this is none other than Pippa Lynch, the OG founder and director of Shout & Co.
Don't use those. The CEO of Shout & Co.
Okay, so last week we spoke about just getting our heads around the digital marketing. I mean, it's quite a big topic, Pippa. I mean, like, it's literally everything to do with the screen.
Yeah.
But not only that, there are other things, but yeah. And so to make people feel less anxious about it, you've got some rad things that you wanted to share.
Yeah, we've
with
got
the business owner out there. So,
full podcast.
Just break it down.
So today we're going to be talking about some of the digital marketing elements and activities that you might want to consider for your business in 2020. We're going to talk about how to make the best use of them. And we're also going to give you a really cool planning calendar to take all of that guesswork, to take all of that second guessing out of it, and give you a really great roadmap that's going to help put all of it into perspective for you. And you can see how it all rolls up into what you need to be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, half-year basis.
So before we get ahead of ourselves, because that sounds really cool.
Yeah, so
and for someone like me who, believe it or not, I like to think, but not too much. Let's bring it back to the digital marketing elements and activities.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Alright, so the various parts of digital marketing, I mean, we could sit here for hours going through all of the different activities that would fall underneath it. And what we do here at Shout & Co is something called content marketing. And so that's all about producing content that is value adding for your clients, that pitches you as the expert within your industry, within your, within your product type, your service type. And it creates really great content that makes your readers and your clients and your customers want to know more about you. And the more they want to know about you, the more invested they become in you and your success and your growth and the products and the services that you offer. So the content marketing that we talk about covers everything from social media, the copy, the visuals, the imagery, the stories, the highlights, the community management, all that kind of thing. It covers newsletters and blogs and parts of your website that we do, but in general it's websites, your pay-per-click ads, and SEO. So it's all of those kinds of things rolled up into one neat package, because ultimately it's about how you show up online. And so and when we talk about social media, it's a blanket term, but what it means is all of the platforms where you would interact with someone, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, even Pinterest, all of those different platforms, TikTok now, Snapchat, all of those places are really key places to be, depending on who your target market is.
And depending on how your brand fits.
Yes, within that. So
I'm
not saying like you need to be on TikTok,
but
what I'm saying is about you need to decide which to use for your business based on the utility of that platform. So one platform is going to be better for you than another.
That's such a great word, utility. Well done.
So it all comes down to the utility of that platform, because
referenced against your business and where your target market
is. So some brands will work beautifully on Facebook, but they're not going to work on Instagram. Some, depending on their level, just some businesses will do far better on LinkedIn because that's exactly where their target market is hanging out. Whereas others who are purely visual, artists, photographers, would do really well on Pinterest, for example, because that's where people go to find that kind of medium. So that's just what we're talking about from a content perspective.
So to add to what you're saying, so you basically covered the basic digital landscape insofar as social media platforms are concerned, and how Shout & Co generates content for them, or how the business owner out there should consider generating content for themselves, for their brands. What about the business owner that's out there that says, my company isn't, and the message that my brand sort of permeates does not fit with social media? Do you think that's a true statement?
I don't think. I think they haven't. I don't think that they understand their target market then.
Okay.
Because it's.
So say for example, I'm a business owner that makes nuts and bolts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's a space for me as the nut and bolt man in the digital media landscape.
If you're savvy about digital marketing, you can create kick-ass content out of pretty much nuts and bolts. To what degree you should be on there, on various platforms or that kind of thing, is up for debate.
Sure.
But I do believe that businesses that run the full gamut of,
Media
what's
in
out
general,
there, can benefit to some extent with social media. And why I say that is because social media provides the customer or the client with an opportunity to check you out before they buy from you or before they come speak to you.
So it's like it's like Tinder for brands, right?
Yeah, so this nuts and bolts brand that you talk about, even if they're just on Facebook.
Let's call the brand Nutty.
Okay, if Nutty is on Facebook, or if Nutty is considering what their options are from a social media perspective, even if they're just on Facebook, even if they're just there to have their recommendations available for other customers to see, that is still providing value.
That's true. I didn't consider
so
that.
they've
So
got
like reviews,
reviews,
testimonials.
and what past clients have used those nuts and bolts for, and how 20 years later that structure that they've built using Nutty's products is still standing. It's all of that kind of content that you can generate to create that equity. Because ultimately you want to create value for your clients, for your customer base, in such a way that equity can then later on be traded for dollars. So you're...
That is brilliant. Can you just say that again? I think we need to make a call out. So
Okay.
coming up is a great quote from Pippa Lynch and Co. Can you just repeat exactly what you said?
So you want to create that equity through value-adding content that can then later on be traded for dollars.
That is brilliant. I think that is going to be the quote for this episode.
Okay.
So you want to generate equity so that in time that equity can be traded
Because
for
it's easier to trade those. The customer will be more
Jeez, that's a
primed.
great quote. My goodness.
That customer will be more primed to hand over their hard-earned dollars when they feel that they've reached a certain level, a minimum threshold of equity, I suppose you could say. It just becomes a lot easier. And then you build on that with loyalty. So they buy from you once and you create that loyalty, and then they buy from you again. And then suddenly you've got built in a lifelong customer because of that value dollar trade that you've been working on.
That is absolutely.
But as the
cool.
business owner, your job is to generate that equity in such a way that eventually your customer wants to hand over their dollars. So your content marketing is going to be a huge part of that, because that's how you generate that equity. People see you on Instagram and they see your beautiful product, photographed in a beautiful way thanks to awesome product photography. And
which we do, by the way. Shameless plug.
and that's just one way that customers would be able to check you out.
Yeah.
You create a great blog post about how your product adds value, how it's made, who makes it, the process that it goes through to be made, and you turn that blog post into a Facebook post, and suddenly that's generating equity
So it's
as
like
well.
the golden thread of
Yes.
basically recycling that content, integrated across the various
Yes, it's
platforms.
all
So
about
it's
integration,
website,
and you can
blog,
absolutely integrate all of these
Facebook,
elements.
Instagram.
Your newsletter is just another way to say, hey, I'm just popping up into your inbox here just to let you know that we're here. Here's some value. Oh, and by the way, and then so that's the other way. And then your website is the ultimate landing page. Because and more on landing pages actually is that you've got to think about your social media as your landing page. So if someone goes to your Instagram, they
Can you
can
just
see.
say that again? Because I think, traditionally digital agencies have said, oh, we're running a campaign and you need to have a specific landing page. Now, I'm not saying that landing pages, the traditional actual landing pages, are not relevant. But what you just said, for the small business owner,
Yes.
is relevant.
Yeah.
Can you just say that again?
So you need to treat your social media as almost like a landing page, so that when they land on your Instagram, they can see in a snapshot exactly who you are, what you're all about. They can get in touch with you, they know how to get in touch with you, they know exactly what it is that you sell, they know exactly what it is that you offer, and in a brief moment, they can figure out if they're in the right place or the wrong place. And trust me, I know that you probably, the inclination is to probably drag as many people to you as possible. But I would rather have 10 people come to me who are exactly in my target market, who exactly fit the profile of the person that's going to buy from me and that I want to buy from me, rather than having 100 people who are warm, lukewarm, not really there to shop from me, but just hanging out. It's really about the quality of your leads, and so that equity that you're generating is about developing quality leads, right? Because that's all what it's all about.
So I don't like the word leads because
Yes,
it makes the customer sound like they're just a number. Okay, so I prefer the word community, and I think I feels like most people in the world are following Gary Vaynerchuk or Gary V, but he says something really cool. He says instead of focusing on exactly to what you say, instead of watering those weeds that aren't necessarily your customers, and I'm sorry, I'm not calling customers weeds, but the people that aren't your leads, look after the community that are following you, that are loyal to you. Water them, because what I've found, at least in our business, when we focus on our customers and we give them value, they'll hana is a South African term, by the way, of just gossiping and talking. They'll talk to amongst each other, and the next thing we'll get a phone call or someone saying, hey, I spoke to such and such who does work with you at the moment, and that's just how it grows. Now, I wanted to sort of tangent a little bit, because I know we've spoken about the digital landscape and the activities and whatnot. Do you think, Pippa, that the traditional word of mouth is a thing of the past?
No ways.
Okay, so tell me,
I think traditional word of mouth is such a key part of it, and like we spoke about last week, saying digital marketing or social media is just one element. Word of mouth is going to be a whole, or should be, a whole marketing element in and of itself. Because, and how you generate that word of mouth is by providing that equity, or generating that equity, by providing that value, and by giving great customer service. So customer service then links into your word of mouth as a general, as a different type of marketing element, right? It's about spending time online, responding to comments. It's about emailing customers with a thank you, or writing a thank you note, or about responding to queries or complaints very quickly. So that customer experience with you is going to be a vital element as part of your overall marketing strategy, and word of mouth comes from that. So we've managed to build our business, Shout & Co, predominantly through word of mouth, because people also don't want to hand over their hard-earned cash to a company that they haven't personally come to understand the equity that they're providing, right? Whereas if someone that you trust in your circle of friends or in your family has had that equity generated for them, you're sort of borrowing that equity, which is again why that equity becomes so important.
It's third-party endorsement.
Yes, and so I keep coming back to the word equity, but I feel like it's such an important word, because it's not only your personal interaction with that equity, but it's about how the people around you can share that equity as well. So word of mouth has become huge, and it's become such an important way that people can say, you know what, there's 40,000 people that you can go to for your digital marketing, but we recommend Shout & Co because of this and this and this reason. And every customer is going to have a different reason for recommending a company. And it just gives you an insight into what is most important about, or to that customer. Maybe it's the speed of turnaround, maybe it's...
and each customer will vary based on what they value. So I have a working theory about word of mouth. So, you know, I thought with the onset of the digital world that we're currently living in, that, you know, actual human time and that sort of connection would dissipate. But I think with the advent of everyone showcasing, let's call it the highlights reel of their lives, I feel like there's a bit of technological backlash from actual humans, where they just want to stress test, okay, so I'm seeing this online, and then they want to just chat to a human, you know, to say, just want to verify whatever words they use. Is your experience with them as good as what they look, for argument's sake? And so that's the current working theory. It's almost like as the digital medium has grown, so the need for verifying through physical connection
and validation
has almost increased with it, which is sort of counter what the pundits were touting would happen.
Well, because
with
it's
the onset of
it's very
digital
easy
media.
to create a persona, right? That then you hide
100%.
behind online. People want to verify that persona.
Mm.
That yes, it's very easy to be nice when you're trying to woo me into working with you, but is that how you normally are? Is that your baseline, or is that just a front?
Yeah.
And so people need to do their research. They need to, that's why they want it. That's why they want to read the about post. That's why they want to see the behind the scenes. They want to see how.
Just on
together.
that, by the way, so we manage quite a few customers online, and whenever we put a behind the scenes post or a picture of the owner on social, their social platform literally lights up like a Christmas tree. And I think it's that innate human need to see that, there's actually a human running this business.
And you know what the beauty of the small to medium-sized entrepreneur is? You're probably feeling like, I don't have the big budget to be able to do these cool big campaigns that the big brands do. But the beauty of being a small to medium-sized business is that you have got the opportunity to really drive the personable interaction with your client, your customers. Because if you think about big brands, I'm not going to use any names, but a big box retailer, there's thousands of employees that work at their head office. You never know who you're talking to. You never know. You don't have a view of the single person that has driven the business, that is driving the business. So as a small to medium-sized business owner, you need to own that space to say, you know what, I might not have the huge budgets, but I've got the opportunity here to build a personal relationship like the big brands cannot.
And I feel like, just on that note, because I've done some research courtesy of the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Enterprise, India. Probably got it wrong, but anyway, the statistic for New Zealand, which is the country in which we operate, 97% of industry is run by a small to medium-sized enterprise, and they measure that based on the number of employees, so that's 20 people or less, and that accounts for 26% of GDP. So it feels like within the New Zealand landscape, it's definitely a place to dial out the personable attributes of your business, because people get it, because they themselves are probably operating within a small business anyway. But I want to pause that part of the discussion, Pippa, and get into the sort of the crux of what we wanted to share today, and that's the planning calendar. So talk to us. Well, why is it important, and how can people use it?
So we're big fans of planning. All we do is plan.
She's a big fan.
I'm a big fan, and I think it rubs off on you actually.
Yeah, me too.
So we're all about planning. We've developed a really cool, comprehensive planning document that we will share with you, and it just helps to give you a roadmap to follow when it comes to your digital marketing. It tells you all of the promotions, the discounts and the offers that you want to run, the giveaways. It really goes into quite a lot of detail around what kind of stuff you want to put out on your social media, and then how you want to draw that through into your blog posts, into the videos that you're creating, into the newsletters that you're developing for your brand and for your business. And it really just shows you how all of it fits together. And why I love to plan is because if not done with a certain level of, what's the word? Structure, is a good one. If not done with a certain level of structure, your social media or the content that you're putting out is not going to talk to each other. And so when a person lands on your landing page, i.e. your Instagram, and they get taken through to a link tree, and it's all these different blog posts and all these different things, and sign up here for this, and you're just talking a whole bunch of different messages, it becomes very cluttered and claustrophobic for the client or for your customer, your target audience. And so if you've got a single message that, about this week we're just going to be talking about this, and your blog post talks to it, your newsletter talks to it, maybe from different angles to keep it fresh and interesting, that's what we're going to talk about, and it helps to give you a direction. Because if you wake up in the morning and you say, okay, I need to put something out on social media to my followers, it's going to come across as slapdash, and people are going to be like, well, what are you talking about? I don't understand the messages that you're putting out there. So we advocate for planning in advance, and You can even plan down to the ads that you're going to be using, when you're going to be updating your SEO based on the newsletters that you put out, or the service that you offer, or
Maybe
all of that kind of stuff. Does your SEO get updated alongside all of the other things that you're doing in your business? And so that's why we advocate for the planning. And you'll probably find that your relationship with digital marketing will change a lot as well, because it's not going to be some crazy hairy thing. It's just going to be, all right, today I'm talking to them about this, and you can then plan your social media posts up front, and it's just one long stream of consciousness when it comes to digital marketing.
So it's all great to plan, and I find, look, I love planning. I like getting lost in my thoughts about planning and imagining the next step. And I don't think I'm alone when I say this. Sometimes getting into the execution phase is where, at least if I speak for myself, I can stumble. Not necessarily within our business, please don't take that the wrong way, but just other things like going for a run even. If I don't plan the night before, or if I plan it, I need to actually get up, put my running shoes on and go for a run. So for the business owner out there who, let's use Nutty again as an example, she's got her plan. What happens if they get stuck on, I don't know how to write a blog post, or what's the best angle to take this picture, or what hashtags do I use?
It's easy. It's outsource it. If you don't know how to write a blog post, outsource it to someone who does, and then that's one less monkey on your back that you have to worry about. But because of your planning, you will know what you want that blog post to be about, and how it reads through to the other elements of the digital marketing stuff or content that you're putting out that week. And so your brief to the person that is writing your blog post for you can be very succinct.
Would it be safe to say that also within the planning you can say, well, these are elements that I'm comfortable owning?
Yes.
It might be the photography, it might be the copy, or it might just be the overarching idea, and then outsource those elements.
So if someone then says, okay, so I've outsourced the blog post because I don't like to write, at the same time I don't like to write my captions with my social media, then maybe you find someone who can do both for you. And that way it's using the same tone of voice, maybe it's using the same kind of content and the same type of, it's all talking together. And say you're completely happy with taking your own imagery and you're very confident in your abilities to do that for your newsfeed, then you keep that in-house and you do that, because the one thing about business that I have learned is that business is being your own boss is great until you come up against something that is not in your wheelhouse, and then you start to get frustrated, you start to get complacent, like you just keep putting it off and off, and then until you realize, well, I have not done any blog posts this year because I don't like writing blog posts, and then your business hasn't benefited from having blog posts because you simply don't like it. If you outsource that, you're still getting the blog posts done by someone who knows how to do them.
And you're trading that emotional cost for dollars.
And then you can spend more time creating the imagery for your newsfeed because that's what you love to do. And then suddenly your business is something that, whenever you get back to work in January, is the one thing that you are so excited to do because you love what you do.
So the one thing that we're sort of speaking around, I feel at this point is, so the business owner, Nutty out there, is like running off her or his feet, right? So what I'm basically double tapping on here is time. Okay. So, and I know that you do this well. I think we do it both quite well. Is carving out the time. What are your thoughts around actually carving out some time during daylight hours, not early in the morning or late at night when you don't have the energy, to map this out? Do you think that it's a worthy investment, or should I take the next sale that comes online through the door and attend to that? Like, how do you balance working on your business versus working
this is a huge struggle that we've had. And 2020 for us is going to be, it's already started to shift because we've already seen the benefits of focusing on the things that we love and focusing on the things that are important to us, and spending more time building our own business, because for so long we've been building other people's businesses that we've not done anything for ours. And so I think there's a couple things. One, it's important to spend a lot of time on things that are going to make you money. So for Nutty, for example, I don't think blog posts would be important because, there's only so many ways you can talk about nuts and bolts, right? But I think it's important to focus on the areas that are income generating for you and outsource the things that are nice to haves, but still important, because a blog post is important from an SEO perspective. It's important to help you entrench yourself as an expert in your industry. It also gives you, especially if it's shared by third parties, is to give you those external links back to your website. So all of those kinds of things are really important, and I think if you focus on doing the things that you love and the things that are income generating, and you outsource the things that you don't enjoy doing and that you would rather pay someone to do.
But also might be income generating.
Yes. Oh, at the end of the day, you don't want to be spending time on things that won't generate you income, but
they might just
while you might not see $10 for every blog post that you're not going to get paid by the internet people for posting a blog post, but it's creating that equity that we spoke about. It's about generating that equity that then you can then use later on to trade for dollars. So it might be something that you don't like. It might feel like it's more of a chore than anything else. So outsource it. At least it's being done, and you know that you're creating that equity through it.
So I know what we do, and I guess in the setup, I'm the interviewer, you're the interviewee. So I'm going to ask you, what do you do? Or what have you done? And I know the answer, so this is for the benefit of you out there.
I don't know the question.
What have you done
I'm nervous.
to carve out time specifically for planning? Can you? So what do you do?
Yeah. So every morning I spend look. It happens at various time scales. So right at the beginning of the year, we sit down and we plan our year out. Not necessarily the whole year, but what we'd like to achieve and how we'd like to go about it and we might plan this out, 3 or 4 months in advance, and say for the next 4 months, and we break it down by week, and we say these are the things that we want to focus on for our business and what we want to drive.
So in essence, it's what success will look like. So if we look back from, say, March, April.
Yes, so we've planned up until April, just so that we've got all of our ducks in a row and we know what we need to do and what we need to outsource if we need to outsource anything. It also gives us an idea of if we need to invest in some more resource to help us achieve those things. So that's what we sort of do at the beginning of the year, just to set the tone and get our brains ready and into the frame of mind for the new year ahead. But then also on the first Friday of every month, we also sit down and we plan well, it depends on when it falls, but it's generally around the first of the month, the Friday either slightly before that or the Friday as close to that as possible, and we'll sit down and we'll plan out the month ahead. So that way we've taken the 4-month plan, and now we're actually going into a more
fortnightly check-in.
Fortnightly to a monthly check-in, just to say, all right, so because we want to be able to be flexible as well, because digital marketing shifts all the time, and customer needs shift all the time, we need to be flexible. So it's great having a plan, but it's also great being flexible within that plan. So we will then sit and plan out the month ahead and say, all right, do we need to shift our plans out a little bit? Do we need to change them up a little bit? Is it still relevant? Is it still accurate? Is it still what our clients or customers want to hear about it? And then from there, we then just make it happen, and we set aside that time to plan out and make it all happen.
Pippa's a great accountability partner. And that's what I find also helps is if you're a one-man band or doing this by yourself, just like having a coach or having someone who you go to the gym with, I think business is the same. I'm a swimmer, right? So occasionally I go and swim down at our local pool, and I always swim faster if someone in a lane alongside me is egging me on. And that's what life and that's what business is like. So if you don't have someone, get someone. Just to keep you accountable. Yeah, because you can have the plan. It can be a beautiful plan, but the plan isn't going to make you the money. It's the execution on that.
Yeah.
What's going to help you? It's, in my case, you. In your case, me.
So then that happens for the week or the month ahead. And then what we do on a Monday morning is we actually then do a production planning meeting where we then talk about the key things that are happening that week, and we plan our week around the key things that have come up, the key shoots that have been booked, the new clients that we've taken on, the new projects that we're working on, all that kind of stuff. Then we plan out the week and we say, okay, from a resource perspective, what needs to be done? Because also we've got 2 small kids, so we need to make sure that we are being here for them as well.
Yeah.
And then on a daily basis, I do my morning walk. I think about the day ahead, what I need to do, what my success will look like by the end of the day. And then once I'm done with that and had my shower and I've had my cup of tea and I'm all ready to go for the day, then I sit down and I write out a fresh to-do list. And so you can kind of see how your planning from the 4 month right down to the daily is so important, because the 4 month will say, well, or actually on that daily, okay, well, I need to write a blog post for my business, because for the month I need to produce 4 blog posts about this particular topic, and it all rolls out to the 4 month plan as well. So you can see how the planning actually really helps to just guide your thinking, and it's taken all of that hard work out of the planning for you, because you just sit down and say, okay, I'm writing a blog post on this because I've already planned to do that.
Yeah.
And then if you need to flex it out, or you need to make it more flexible to take into it, to change the topic up to be more relevant to something that's happened or happening.
Also to account for the realities of life.
Yeah. And it's also about not kicking yourself though, because if you miss a week of blog posts, it's not the end of the world. And if you've missed a week of blogging,
I mean, you might have missed that blog post because you landed a massive client.
it's all about perspective, right? If you landed a huge project
but
that's going
why it's
to pay,
good having an accountability plan to
sort of temper your anxieties around, okay, well, I've got this plan, I need to do it. Understand that plan is, it's meant to be relooked if need be.
It's not it's not the holy
But then
grail.
again, you outsource. If you know that you're coming into a time, and this is where your monthly planning comes in handy. If you know that your month is going to be insane, outsource it. But you should have a community around you that you can really outsource to. That it's a quick email or a quick message to say, hey, I've got too much on my plate. Can I outsource this to you?
Yeah, I feel like
and that's that beautiful community that you can build around you. Like, we've got a community of designers, of copywriters, of schedulers, people who can do that stuff for us when we've just got too much on the go.
Now, look, I know that we've spoken about a lot because we're already approaching 30 minutes. So, again, as always, key takeaways.
So there's a lot to digital marketing, as you probably have seen. That's the first thing. Don't get overwhelmed by it all. Sit down, understand who your target market is, and figure out what is going to make you the most money from a digital marketing perspective. Where are you going to get the big runs, the minimum effort for the maximum impact? Where are you going to get that from with your digital marketing? If you need help with all of that stuff, you know where to go. I mean, that's what we do here at Sharp & Co all the time. And plan. Just set some time in your diary to plan on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis.
So we can help with that. Where can people find that?
Yeah, so we're going to have a link to that marketing calendar with this podcast.
In the show
and
notes.
Also in the show notes and also on the blog.
On the vid.
And so you'll get all of that, and you just download it and you're away. And if you've got any questions, you just...
And it's pretty easy, by the way.
touch.
We're big fans of Excel spreadsheets.
Oh yeah, it's very simple.
We're not fancy pants. I mean, we're fancy. Like Excel spreadsheets are great. We love them.
Yeah,
we live
but
in
it's a very easy. I mean, you don't need to know much about Excel to be able to work with
exactly
these.
Right. Yeah.
We try to make it as easy as possible, because you also won't have time when you're building your empire. You won't have time to be trawling through 700 worksheets in your Excel document. It's one document, or one page of document that will open up your entire year for you, and you'll see it very clearly.
Cool.
So yeah.
Before we close, final words, final thoughts.
Take some time out for yourself.
Cool. So we'll leave it on.
amongst all of that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Thank you for being in our. I always smile when I say this, in our good company. Is that an assumption? I think it is, but hopefully it isn't. And we'll see you next time.
Yay.
Okay, bye.
See ya.